Welcome to another episode of the Birds Aren't Real podcast. I'm your host, JP, with your other
Um,
host, DJ.
DJ.
And today we're talking about the great and powerful Mark Zuckerberg.
Zucker. We're gonna have a
He's
little Zuck fest.
a little Zuck fair.
Yeah.
He's on a little Zuck fest. He's going on everything.
It's fucking
Backtracking.
yeah, he's a
Well,
flip flopping son of a bitch, they call him. Old
well,
flip flopper.
it's why would you talk about Zuckerberg on a conspiracy podcast? Well, because they rigged the election
Yeah.
of yesteryear.
I mean, I listen, you know how many a lot of people get in arguments with saying, "Oh, yeah, if they rigged it, why did they let them win this time?" I was like, because they could have rigged this one because there's so many fucking people voting. But the last
They
one,
couldn't rig it
too
because
big to
they
rig.
tried to
Is
kill
what
the
they were
guy
saying.
twice.
Well,
Never
they did
mind,
try to kill. Yeah.
never mind rig it. Yeah, they tried to rig it by blowing his fucking brains out on live TV. Do we not forget that?
Yeah.
I didn't rig it this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But crap, whatever, for him or against him, whatever. But it cracks me up when you get some people like, oh, it was a setup. He set up to be shot.
Oh
He
yeah. No, that's the blue anons.
Yeah.
That's the
But
blue
by
anons, and I know people
a
like that.
millimeter of
I-
barely, he would have died within like
Yeah.
a tenth of a second less. Yeah, they set that up.
I didn't think that was real. It's just like QAnon people. I never thought QAnon people were
They're
real
out of their minds.
until you meet one and you go, oh shit, you really are out there. I thought it was
Yeah.
just like an internet psyop.
No. Well,
And
we
the
know.
same thing with Blue Anon.
We
They're like
knew
Blue Anon,
someone.
Blue Anon, Blue Anon, Blue Anon. And then I met somebody. We were talking about the whole spiel, and this is before the election. I said I still don't think he's gonna win. I was like I was like I don't think Kamala has a chance, but somehow she's gonna win.
Mhm.
And then we brought up I was like, they tried to kill the guy twice. They're not gonna let him win. And he was like, oh, I don't believe that. I think that was like fake. I was like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Fake, yeah.
Well, like, oh, I think it was like set up. Like he set that up. I'm like, you think? I was like, a guy died that was standing right behind him.
Yeah.
People were shot. One man actually died. Other people were seriously injured.
Injured. Yeah.
Like, that was a setup. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
It is bizarre. Like you watch it in real time. Like he's not. Oh, who is he on Neo from the Matrix that they set it up? That he was like,
I don't know this. I don't know
I'm
what
like,
the
okay.
excuse is that maybe like it was like a little blood. I don't know. Oh, he went
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
cut
The
his ear.
WWE Vince McMahon was like, oh, this is good shit.
Yeah. It's
No.
whatever. But anyway, we're not talking about the. Well, I
Well,
mean,
we're
I
talking
guess we
about
will talk about the election a little bit because this.
yeah,
has
because
to
it's
do
going to
with it.
fall into what we are talking about, which is Zuck's about face on helping the deep state, essentially.
Yeah, well, he's just trying to be a based bro now.
Yeah, he goes wherever the wind blows. The wind is blowing in a different direction.
Yeah. Well,
now,
let's just play. Let's
All right,
play
yeah.
his
So
thing.
let
Let's
me.
play his thing
That's what
before
I'm gonna do here. Let me
fucking dig
pull up
into
that clip here. Let's share his video here because this guy's a clown. All right, everyone, let's see the Zuck.
I mean, look at the chain out, the black shirt.
Yeah, can we talk? What's up with the glow up?
First of all,
glow up all of a
the
sudden.
oversized black shirt. It's like right out of
He looks like one of my son's friends from high school. Okay.
Well, I guess that's the new trend. But I was gonna say, like, when
Right.
we were growing up, when we were younger, like
Chains out.
I again also. It's not a fashion podcast. Fashions always come back in style. Kids are wearing baggy pants again. They're wearing baggy like carpenter pants, like we used to wear as in but that's what they're doing now. This little chain. I mean, that looks like a little goofy chain you get out of like a 50-cent machine. I'm sure that thing's like a $2 million chain because the guy's the richest man in the world. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it looks like a
the bro
goofball.
look. All right,
yeah, the bro look.
Listen.
You're 40-something years old.
Let's listen to what he has to say. I
Your
will
wife's a
stop it in
Chinese
between
spy.
and
What are you
comment
doing?
on it.
Okay, go.
Hey everyone. I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years.
Yeah, you think?
There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there.
Yeah.
I like that's the new term, legacy media. It's not mainstream media, it's legacy media.
It's legacy media.
But when you hear legacy media, all I hear is fake news. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. Like, the government and its propaganda machine.
Yeah. Anyway. But he even says it's like there was this push for censorship. I'm like, dude, you you kowtow to that and
Well,
like no problem. But let's see what his reasoning. And then there's another video where he explains why that happens. But I think it's full of shit.
yes,
But
of
we'll
course,
see.
but
there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation.
By the way, drugs, terrorism,
and
child exploitation. What like marijuana drugs? Like you can't compare that to terrorism
So
and
they
child
were saying
exploitation.
that's what they were saying. He was saying that was what they were censoring.
Yeah. Oh no, that's also the bad things that were on things they had to censor that was bad or something.
Okay.
These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech.
There you go.
So, in other words,
there you
where
go.
the wind blows.
Yeah. Oh, now that the fucking pendulum swang back,
yeah,
we're gonna go that way.
Yeah, and then when people get too pissed off about that, and it's like, oh, everyone goes rah rah rah.
He's like, oh, now that you could say it, now it's okay to say gay and retard again without going to jail. We're gonna allow that.
Yeah, now it's allowed. That's
okay. So we're gonna get back to our roots,
and it's only because
mistakes, simplifying our policies,
the popular vote,
and restoring free expression on our platforms.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If he just won the electoral vote, it would be like, oh, he's not the real president.
Yeah.
That whole fucking thing. But anyway.
More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US.
We're copying off of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, community notes, how do they work exactly? I actually don't even. Is it like a Wikipedia, like where multiple people?
Okay, but Wikipedia is bullshit too. Because that's controlled as well.
I love the use of the word fact checkers. There was never a fact. They didn't check any facts. There was no facts checked.
First of all, well, that's the whole thing. Community notes, fact checking. I'm not trying to defend Elon either, because Elon also, they do censor on X all the time. Now that if you speak out against the fucking genocide that the Israelis are doing, you're gonna lose your blue check and you get demonetized. What happened? What happened to my free speech? What happened there? But fact checking. First of all, imagine like talking to somebody like social media, Facebook and X. Now it's like if you and me are having a conversation and I'm like, yeah, I was fishing. I got a fish that's 4 foot. You're not going to go, oh, yeah, let me fact check it. No, it's conversation. It's who gives a shit? If you believe it, you're the idiot.
And the fact checking is like, there's no way they're even doing the amount of research they need to do to accurately fact check anything.
Now, the
only thing ever tells facts is time. First of all, you have all the facts you want in the first 24, 48 hours, and then never right. So you get into that.
But like, who is doing the facts? I mean, I can go into like whatever. Anyway,
so he talks. So he does an interview with Rogan, obviously, earlier this week, and then we have a clip from that too. We're going to show later, and he goes into like how that works, and it's interesting. But I don't
buy anything like very tongue in cheekly when I get into arguments with people about like say religion and science, and they go, God isn't real. I'm like, well, you can't prove that. You can't prove that with science. Well, you believe, you believe that there's the moon, right? I don't know if the moon's real. Oh, you could see it, but we've been there, or whatever the case is. I'm like, or science shows this. They did tests. I'm like, did you hear that? Anyway, they may have done the test, but have you done the test? So I didn't do the test. I know it's real. You're just going on whatever this person's telling you. Don't believe anything. That's my fucking spiel.
All right, let's just. Well, where did Zuck go? Zuck.
I see him.
Oh, you see him? I don't see him. What did I do? I messed up.
I don't know. Well,
let's see here.
He's looking right at me.
He's not looking at me, this son of a bitch. Where the fuck where'd he go, man? Oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm a re. Here we go. Are you ready? Let's see.
After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. but the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially.
Didn't this guy hire the fact checkers?
Yeah, they've been too politically biased.
Especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse.
All of a sudden, the gender police were like the Gestapo. Now all of a sudden, we're gonna get rid of things like who cares about gender?
Gender and immigration. Oh, now you're allowed to speak.
Yeah. Now you could talk about it.
Now you can...
listen. Whatever.
But like again, that's not fact check. That's like you were, like he just said. Oh, we were, censoring people's.
That's like EA Sports
opinions.
Making a new game and saying, "Oh, we added these other features." Like, no, those were the features that were supposed to be in the original, and you removed them. Free speech was supposed to be part of the platform from the beginning, and you just removed it. And now you're like, "Oh, we're going to put these. We're allowing this now." It's like it should have been there from the beginning. Let's see.
What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed, so we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas.
That's man funny. It's like we're going from California, the blues of the blue, to Texas, the red is of the red.
That's amazing. Oh yeah.
Why is it that? Because
why it's got to be Texas? You could have just been like, oh,
why? Because there's no income tax, and you get a lot more tax breaks in Texas now. Texas is Texas was doomed, by the way. I always wanted to go to Texas, but now Texas is.
Wow. It's purple. It's a purple state.
It's gonna be ruined. Well, enjoy that.
Yeah, that's so funny. It's like, oh, we're gonna be like, we're changing. We're just going to Texas now. All of a sudden, this guy's gonna be like,
all these techs are going to Texas. All the tech giants are going to Texas.
It's really like whether you're on the left or the right. It's like this guy was all on the left with leftist policies. Now because the right one, all of a sudden now it's like, like what the hell?
Because
it's like just have a backbone. Say this is what I believe, and that's it, and stick with it. I don't understand. I mean, I guess it's not what businesses do. They just, they go with the wind, but it's wild. It's so crazy to me.
As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there.
Europe has gotten
Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
I'm surprised he
So
didn't say
basically, what he said,
stay cool, bros.
which has always been true, that the statement that always rings out is, "You go woke, you go broke," and that was happening. Who uses Facebook? I haven't used
Uh,
Facebook in 12
I
years.
used it last year to sell some things marketplace. That's about it.
I have not had a Facebook since I was 25 years old. I'm damn near 40 now. So
It's almost like
who,
he's admitting they had Stockholm syndrome in that video. So, oh, we were abused. We didn't know it
yeah,
until
all they try
our
to
abuser
say.
left.
No,
And
what
it's like,
happened
okay.
is Trump won. They tried to kill the guy, and I think now they go, oh, you know what? Now we just got to play ball. But with that, they realize, oh, people voted for Trump like, oh, he's the savior. No, it's all one big club, and we're
Mhm.
not in it. Okay. Now they just
Yeah.
have to go, okay, whatever. We tried to not get this guy in. He's in for another 4 years. Let's play ball. And they're going to play ball. They're going to screw the people over again. And I'm not talking about Facebook. I'm talking about, the government and corporations in general, because that's what they do. And I think that's what it is. Even like people bugging out like, oh, look, Obama and Trump were talking at Jimmy Carter's funeral. What would you want them to do?
What do you
Spit in
think
his
they're going to
face?
do? Yeah. I mean, that,
The only one that was sour was there was the two women there that were sour, the two
yeah.
that Trump beat, obviously. Um, but again, it's like, yeah, of course Obama is gonna talk to him. They're all in the same club. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's work a deal. Let's play ball now. Now we have to play ball. We're gonna play ball.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole thing, like, oh, Trump is a leader. No, none of that's true. They're still gonna fund wars. They're still gonna do all this bullshit.
Well, yeah, I guess with the Gaza and Israel thing, but the 4 years that Trump was in, they didn't do, you know, any bombing or
There
anything
was,
like
yes,
that.
they were. They were
Who they,
bombing
who
the
would,
shit out of Syria. Or in Lebanon or whoever.
yeah,
They were continuing bombing. They didn't bomb any new countries, but they were still
wasn't
bombing.
bombing
He
the
didn't
old
end any
ones.
wars. He didn't
Yeah,
pull anybody out of
that's
anything.
true.
Please, it's all bullshit. Um, but again, with Zuckerberg, it's so funny. It's like, I don't know, we should have prepared a little bit more. We should have pulled a picture of him like, 5 years ago or whatever, and a picture now, and put him next to one's like alien Zuckerberg trying to drink, like cyborg Zuckerberg trying to drink in front of Congress, and now it's just bro Zuckerberg, which is the funniest thing ever. The guy even apparently hired Dana White on his board now to, like, I
Yeah,
don't know. Because the guy's a
some of that.
loser. The guy's a nerd loser, and he just wants to be accepted by
He
the
needs
cool kids.
friends. Yeah,
Yes. And now he's like, I like UFC. Oh, I'm getting jacked. Oh, I
wasn't he
did a hit.
supposed to fight Elon?
Yeah, it was never gonna happen. That's just rich guy. Yeah, I want to see two rich nerds fight each other. It'd be the most boring fight ever. Do me a favor. But he came out with somebody. I forgot who he came out with. He did a walkout in UFC with somebody.
Zuckerberg did.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot who. Which
I
fighter,
don't
but whatever.
remember.
It's just like, it's so sickening. It's like, give me a break. And then he told, yeah,
It's
on
funny. It's like
Rogan.
we're trying to figure out what the conspiracy is, but it's almost like it's so in your face that it's
Well,
just
yeah,
like not a
sometimes it's just
conspiracy.
there.
It's the
Yeah.
news. It's like, oh yeah, now he's on this side because that's where the money is and that's where the popularity is. It's like, oh, and he hid all the information when the other side was in power. It's like, well, it's conspiracy. So there's just facts, really, at this point.
Let's watch the damn Rogan one.
All right,
That's
let's
all.
see what
Let's
this
go with
guy's
it.
got to say on the Joe Rogan podcast here. Let's just get a
Yeah,
little
I'm.
share going
You
here.
know what? While you do that, I want to Google something real quick. I want to see if he's been on anything else, because he's trying to, like I said, it's the Mark. I was gonna say Mark Zuckerberg based based
Sucklefish.
based tour. I like to call it Mark Mark Zuckerberg, White Plains native. So funny. Uh,
All right, so I got the Rogan clip up. If you want to,
no, yeah, play it.
let's go.
I was really worried from the beginning about basically becoming this sort of decider of what is true in the world, right? That's like kind of a crazy position to be in for
Now-
millions of people using your service. And
He's wearing the same getup.
so we tried
Is
to
that
put
just
in
his
place
suit now?
a system that would deal with
Could
it.
have been the same day, maybe. Who knows?
And early on tried to basically make it so that it was really limited. We're like, all right, we're just going to have this system where there's these third-party fact checkers and they can check the worst of the worst stuff, right? So things that are very clear hoaxes, that there's like, it's not like we're not parsing speech about whether something is slightly true or slightly false, like Earth is flat, things like that, right?
But like, why?
Intent. We put in place the system and it just sort of veered from there. I think to some degree, it's because some of the people whose job is to do fact checking, a lot of their industry is focused on political fact checking. So they just kind of veered in that direction. And we kept on trying to basically get it to be what we had originally intended, which is just, it's not, the point isn't to like judge people's opinions. It's to provide this layer to kind of help fact check some of the stuff that seems the most extreme, but it just, it was just never accepted by people broadly. I think people just felt like the fact checkers were too biased.
Do you think?
Not necessarily even so much in what they ruled, although sometimes I think people would disagree with that. A lot of the time, it was just what types of things they chose to even go and fact check in the first place. So, I kind of think like after having gone through that whole exercise, it I don't know, it's something out of like 1984, one of these books where it's just like it really is a slippery slope, and it just got to a point where it's just okay, this is destroying so much trust, especially in the United States, to have this program. And I guess it was probably about a few years that I really started coming to the conclusion that we were going to need to change something about that. COVID was the other big one, where that was also very tricky.
I like that. You see,
I can't wait to hear this bullshit.
The change of his voice, like he went, "COVID is the other big one." It wasn't. It was like, like you
oopsie daisy.
Yeah.
Let's see what he said about this.
Yeah, because all this information came out. Oh shit!
At the beginning, it was, it's like a legitimate public health crisis, in the beginning, and it's
in the beginning,
even people who are like the most ardent First Amendment, defenders, the Supreme Court has this clear precedent that's like, all right, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. There are times when, if there's an emergency, your ability to speak can temporarily be curtailed in order to get an emergency under control. So I was sympathetic to that at the beginning of COVID. It seemed like, okay, you have this virus. It seems like it's killing a lot of people. I don't know, like we didn't know at the time how dangerous it was going to be. So at the beginning, it kind of seemed like, okay, we should give a little bit of deference to the government and the health authorities on how we should play.
The health authorities? What the hell did he just say?
So now, when COVID came out, again, when it first started out, they were like, it doesn't kill young people. It kills old people that are like older than 85 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's what it did. And people died because of the mismanagement of COVID, because they were pushing people on ventilators
and keeping them indoors next to other people. We should
don't exercise. Don't get vitamin D. Don't take.
I don't have any.
Don't take this medicine that cures it because it's horse dewormer. And now they're like, oh, by the way, that cures everything now.
Yeah, I think he spoke to Mel Gibson about that the other day. We were watching with the horse dewormer.
Saint Mel Gibson.
Saint Mel Gibson.
Saint Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I tried to get relatives of mine to watch that, and they were like, "He's got problems." I'm like, "Okay."
Who said? Well,
yeah. I give you one guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's a big Christian guy. I thought there would be.
It's
and they think Israel's our greatest ally too. So whatever. Anyway,
well, moving on.
Play this, but when it went from 2 weeks to flatten the curve to and like in the beginning, it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks. Masks aren't that important. To then it's like, oh no, you have to wear a mask, and all the like everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow, and this really hit the most extreme, I'd say it was during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And now, I'm generally like pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative. But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who is basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were honestly were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down.
Crazy.
Yeah, but
Because
you don't have to. You're a private company. You just say no. You didn't have to do that. They pushed him. So
Exactly.
you know why he did it?
Exactly.
Because he was going to get any federal funding or anything like that. That's why he did it.
I mean, to be fair, I'll tell you right now, but it's like, the Men in Black coming to you, hey, you better do this. So, they try to kill, they killed JFK. You know what I mean? It's like, they can do whatever they want.
Mafia?
Yeah, the U.S. Mafia. But also, what do you mean? Doesn't every medicine have a side effect of some sort?
Last I checked, when we have 10,000 commercials for medicines, the side effects. I got sick a couple of weeks ago. I had the flu, and I wanted the doctor to give me like a Tamiflu. I was like, and I asked her, so okay, well, what's the side effects? I was going to get it, right? She goes, well, it could cause this, and that, which off the top of my head, I don't remember. But the one that really hit me was, she goes, and if you feel like you're having an emotional breakdown or some type of real psychic break, that you have to really, I'm like, what is in the fucking Tamiflu that I can have a psychotic break? I was like, you know what? I'll take my 100-degree fever and just ride it out.
I'll just shit my bit.
So I didn't pick up, and it kept calling me. You didn't pick up your prescription. I'm like, yeah, you can fucking keep that prescription.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, that's why, because push the fucking medication. Don't rely on being your immune system. No. It's not like it's the bubonic plague. Whatever.
And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. Like, we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration. I think it was I wasn't involved in those conversations directly, but I think it was
how difficult is that to not be involved?
But how are you not involved in those conversations? You're the head honcho.
Got to be strange too, right? Because you're running the company, but there's clearly you're moderating at scale that's beyond the imagination. The number of human beings you're moderating is fucking insane. Like, what's a Facebook? How many people use it on a daily basis? Forget about how many overall. Like, how many people use it regularly?
It's 3.2 billion people use one of our services every day.
Yeah,
it's wild.
More than a third of the planet. That's so crazy.
Yeah, and it's
almost half of Earth.
Well, on a monthly basis, it is probably half.
Look at him. He's like, yeah, I do control the world.
Yeah,
that's like, so crazy.
So okay. This actually brings me to the point I wanted to make. When people were saying, "Oh, well, they're a private company; they have the right to suppress whatever," and I think I had an argument with this with another relative of ours, who shall remain nameless. But it was like, no, at this point, they have such a monopoly on communication, Facebook and Twitter at the time. It's like they have to become like commodities. They're like it's not their. It's almost not their company anymore. It's the public's company. You can't say, well, we're a private company.
I see what you mean by that, but it's not.
Yeah, I know, because I don't want to come across like I sounded like, companies, they do have the right. But when you get to such a scale like that, where a third of the planet on a daily basis is using your product, there has to be something in place where at that point it's like you can't just be the one guy who calls the shots.
But they all did that. Like,
I know they did.
I couldn't go. You can't go into a restaurant without the vaccine, right? Why? It's my business. I should allow it. So they were saying this would drove me up.
They put them in jail. What about the guy in Staten Island who did?
This is what drove me insane. Is because I wanted to go to the baseball game. Big Met fan. They go, tickets. This section is only for the vaccinated, and then the upper deck is for the unvaccinated. So I'm like, that's literally segregation. That's going only. That's crazy. I didn't even know this type of person can go here, and only that type of person can sit in the nosebleeds. I didn't have the vaccination. I sat in the vaccinated section. I had a fake vaccination card. What are you going to do about it?
Nothing.
And you know how I had. And who's checking? I showed them a vaccination card off of Google. Didn't have my name, and know who's checking it? A 17-year-old kid that's getting paid $15 an hour. I'm gonna show some random kid,
That's like
and
the
they go,
guy at the
okay, and they let you in.
yeah,
So
the
what?
guy
They're
who's
like,
checking the people for the weapons at the thing, and he's just going like
yeah,
this.
that's literally
It was
like
all this, yeah.
it's crazy.
It's a
It's
joke.
but again, you know, you what was that big hubbub? You know, years ago, bakery in Denver didn't want to bake a cake for a gay
Oh,
couple,
for the gay
and
couple
that
because it
was the
was
whole
against their
thing.
thing.
Now, I don't think that's right at all. But you know what? He doesn't have to,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
So, and people go, well, no, he should, because then you can't let.
You can't the morality of it versus the legality of it. It's just two different
But
arguments.
this is my biggest thing with social issues like that, whether it be gay or whatever race, right? Oh, um, this it should be like, hey, this John Doe's bakery shop doesn't cook bake cakes for black people, and people should be appalled by that, and then they don't go to him, and he goes out of business.
Yeah, that's how it should work. But
But I but then again, it's like, well,
but what if he's got the best
best
goddamn
cakes in town.
business?
That's the thing. Chick-fil-A.
There's the line.
People got all up in arms about Chick-fil-A. Got the best chicken
Let me
sandwiches
tell you
in
something
town.
about Chick-fil-A. They got some of the best damn customer service I've ever experienced. So, and guess who works at
And they're
Chick-fil-A?
against gay marriage.
Everyone under the sun. I've seen all types of walks of life help me at Chick-fil-A. So, to me,
I'm
that
all
was like
for gay marriage. I'm an ally to the core.
I
But it didn't stop me from eating
give a
Chick-fil-A.
shit.
It did for a while until I had Chick-fil-A. And I was like, okay, it's actually pretty good. But again,
But
like, I get it. I get
think
it.
it was just like the owner who just said that he didn't believe in gay marriage, and he was just
No,
like,
yeah,
oh,
it was just
but
like
I
a
don't think
CEO or something.
it wasn't even part of his business. I don't think he incorporated that into his business.
That was like when people bugged out on what are those people called? The Duck Dynasty guy. It's like, I don't believe in gay marriage, and they were like bugged out. I'm
yeah.
like, this
I'm like,
guy
yeah, the guy's
lives
like a
in the
70-year-old
swamp of the
swamp
Louisiana.
guy
What do you
who
think
grew
he
up on
did?
Christianity. Yeah. I know. Well, that's why it's like, oh, they guys should learn how to do that. You know what? That they really shouldn't, because I guarantee you, when I'm 70, 80 years old, there's going to be things that I say now, and I'm going to say, in the future, and people will be like, oh, you can't say it. I'm going to be like, bro, I'm dead soon. I don't give a shit. I'm going to say what I want to say.
But again,
So
it's
I
like, I
like,
understand that issue of like, hey, you can't you can't do that. You can't allow one group of people. I'm for it. Obviously, you should have to allow all walks of life into your place of business, but at the same time, you gotta like, but they did that with COVID.
yeah.
That was my whole beef. I'm like, yeah, obviously I'm not for segregation, but you literally were segregating people by
Mhm.
their vaccination status.
I mean, I said it. I mean, you can ask my wife. I said it to her 3 weeks in. After 3 weeks, when I was like, this is kind of like, I said, you know what? I have a feeling the way our government's handling it's going to go down as the most mismanaged event in American history. And it is by far has been the most mismanaged event of all time. I feel like
listen,
worldwide events.
It was all purposely done. They
Well,
they were
you want
it's like
to
a soft rollout
wait till I
of
pitch you on the
of
idea of the Anthony Fauci podcast that we're gonna do. The real Anthony
I mean, we
Fauci.
could do 17 podcasts.
You're gonna slam your head against the wall.
It's 100. But it's again. This is what we're about, right? The birds aren't real. It's all a giant fucking psyop. They say, hey, how far could we push
Push
this?
them. Oh yeah, it was a
And
test. This was a test drive.
and look how well it went. Thank God the smart people are like, take your mask and shove it up your ass. People had the nerve to look at you in the street where you didn't have a mask on.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Get the fuck out of my face.
I still
it's
see some,
crazy.
very few, but I still see
No,
once in a while people
yet
wearing
to
masks
this
in the
day.
car.
Yesterday, I had people that I interacted with. They were wearing a mask, and then they took their mask off to drink something.
It's
Craziness.
I don't know. It's fucking wild. People have
Craziness.
out of their minds. We're out. I mean, we might be out of our minds, but I know people.
No,
out
I'm
of their
not.
goddamn
I
minds.
mean, I am, but not not that way. It's insane.
All right.
Keep in the boosters, idiots.
Let's go back. See what these. guys are saying.
But
So
just
I want to say that though, there's a lot of like hypercritical people that are conspiracy theorists and think that everybody is a part of some cabal to control them. I want you to understand that whether it's YouTube or all these, whatever place that you think is doing something that's awful, it's good that you speak, because this is how things get changed, and this is how people find out that people are upset about content moderation and censorship. But moderating at scale is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
What we were talking the other day about the number of videos that go up every hour on YouTube, and it's bananas.
But also,
it's bananas.
Pause that real quick. He said in the other videos, 1% of stuff they censored, right?
Yeah, supposedly.
So what do you say? 3 billion? So what's 1% of 3 billion? That's like
that's a lot.
Like what? I don't even know. I can't do math. I'll tell you right now. That's 30 million.
Yeah. It's a lot of people.
That's crazy.
It's a lot of people. I think it was more than 1%, because I feel like anytime I posted anything that was like,
of course,
questionable, it got taken down. So I don't know. And everyone I know who posted anything questionable got taken down. So I think they were using keywords and things like that. They weren't checking shit.
That's what they did. And
yeah. Well,
to try to get a human being that is reasonable, logical, and objective, that's going to analyze every video, it's virtually impossible. It's not possible. So you got to use a bunch of tools. You're going to get a bunch of things wrong. And then you have also people reporting things. And how much is that going to affect things? You could have mass reporting because you have bad actors. You have some corporation that decides we're going to attack this video because it's bad for us, get it taken down. There's so much going on. I want to put that in people's heads before we go on. Like, understand the kind of numbers that we're talking about here. Now understand you have the pandemic, and then you have the administration that's doing something where I think they crossed the line, where it gets really weird, where they're saying what you were saying. They were trying to get you to take down vaccine side effects, which is just crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you're saying, I mean, it's so complicated, this system, that I could spend every minute of all of my time doing this and not actually focused on building any of the things that we're trying to do. AI, glasses, like the future of social media, all that stuff. So
maybe calm down on the AI.
So I get involved in this stuff, but in general, we have a policy team. There are people who I trust.
AI, man, I just have conversations with ChatGPT
on a daily
all day
basis. And the interactions that I was just referring to, I mean, a lot of this is documented. I mean, because Jim Jordan and the House had this whole investigation and committee into the kind of government censorship around stuff like this. And we produced all these documents, and it's all in the public domain. I mean, basically, these people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse. And it's like, these documents it's all kind of out there.
Oh, did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we, but I think,
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails, the emails are published. It's all kind of out there. And they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're gonna see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And
that's like, yeah,
I don't know. Then like, all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Wow. Yeah.
It's just, but I feel like they did take things down though that were true.
Of course they did.
He's like, oh, we're not taking things down. You're true. I'm pretty sure you did though.
They were.
I mean, he's just using it like the timeline. Maybe the last couple of months they haven't been doing that. But like the first 2 years, you for shit sure were.
But like, this should be I don't want to be like, oh yeah, rally behind Zuckerberg, because I still think he's a coward and a weasel. But this is like he's blatantly saying like, yeah, the
They were
government
bullied. Yeah.
were bullied. No, they were fucking forced to.
Threatened.
Yeah, they were forced
State
to
sponsored.
be.
They were state sponsored media, essentially, like the mass
Yeah,
media
yeah,
is now.
yes,
It's the
yeah,
state sponsored
exactly. Yeah,
propaganda.
exactly. It's crazy how like people are like, oh no, it's not state sponsored.
Like he's
Yeah,
saying, yeah, you're right. As much as I don't trust him, him saying this right now, and then there'll still be people who will be like, oh, I don't think they
well,
did
no, there should
that.
be. I feel like there should be some sort of repercussion. There should be some sort of.
Well, yeah.
You know, like
Repercussions.
these people
Okay.
should be going to jail. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Jail. We don't have enough. We don't have enough jail cells for the amount of people that should be going to jail over the past
Like,
2 years.
how's that?
John, I say this every day. Every time I vent to him, I'm like, this person should be in jail. Okay. They should be, but they're not. But you or I would be in jail quick.
That's wild stuff, man.
This is a massive
They
oversight.
want control of the
Yeah,
internet.
well, I mean, I think
also, you weren't.
That's all it is.
This is the thing about all of this. It's like they suppressed so much information about things that people should be doing, regardless of whether or not you believe in the vaccine. Regardless, put that aside. Metabolic health is of the utmost importance in your everyday life, whether there's a pandemic or there's not. And there's a lot of things that you can do that can help you recover from illness. It prevents illnesses.
All right,
It
Joe
makes your
Rogan.
body
I
more
mean,
robust and healthy.
we gotta
It
watch the
strengthens
Joe
your immune
Rogan
system.
podcast,
And they were
yeah.
suppressing all that information. And that's just crazy. You can't
He
say
talks
you're one of the
about-
good guys if you're suppressing information
They're
that
gonna
would
end up
help
taking
people
us down 'cause
recover
we're
from
playing
all
Joe
kinds of
Rogan.
diseases, not just COVID.
They're gonna censor us.
Ooh.
Problem.
Common cold, all sorts of different things. High doses of vitamin C.
Very pro free speech, free expression. And then over the last 10 years, there have been these two big episodes. It was the Trump election and the aftermath, where I feel like in retrospect, I deferred too much to the kind of critique of the media on what we should do. And since then, I think generally trust in media has fallen off a cliff, right? So I don't think I'm alone in that journey. I think that's basically the experience that a lot of people have had is, okay, it's the stuff that's being written about is not kind of all accurate. And even if the facts are right, it's kind of written from a slant a lot of the time.
Of course.
And then there was the government version of it, which is during COVID, which is okay. Like, it's like our government is telling us that we need to censor true things. It's like, this is a disaster. And it's not just the U.S., right? I think a lot of people.
What really
in the US,
bothers me, if you think this, why didn't you say shit?
Why?
You could have just said it straight out right then and there. Hey, you could have put that video out of, oh, we're going to do better. You should be like, hey, the Biden administration is coming us, telling us to take shit down and trying to censor us, trying to force us to censor the people.
He could have done that. He also could have accidentally gotten into a car accident.
Yeah, I know.
Went up in flame. Yeah, I'm sure that also could have happened to him.
So now that Trump's back, he feels safe. He can say this. Oh, you can bash their things. We're not going to kill you.
The reaction to COVID probably caused a breakdown in trust in a lot of governments around the world.
Luigi ain't a pussy.
2024 was a big election year around the world.
A real Italian.
And there are all these countries, India, just like a ton of countries that had elections, and the incumbents basically lost every single one. So there is some sort of a global phenomenon where the whether it was because of inflation, because of the economic policies to deal with COVID, or just how the governments dealt with COVID, seems to have had this effect that's global, not just the U.S., but like a very broad decrease in trust, at least in that set of incumbents, and maybe in sort of these democratic institutions overall. So I think that what you're saying of, how do people get their information now? It's by sharing it online on social media. I think that that's just increasingly true. And my view at this point is like, all right, like we started off focused on free expression. We kind of had this pressure tested over the last period. I feel like I have a much greater command now of what I think the policies should be. And like, this is how it's going to be going forward. And so I mean, at this point, I think a lot of people look at this as like a purely political thing. It's because they kind of look at the timing and they're like, hey, well, you're doing this right after the election. It's like, okay, I try not to.
Okay, at least he's not that dumb that he realizes
right in the middle of an election either, right? It's like, there's not like a great time to do this. It's
right.
And
you want to do it a year later.
Yeah, it's like, there's no good time to do it. There's, and whatever time is going on, there's going to be, so the good thing about doing it after the election is you get to take this kind of cultural pulse as like, okay, where are people, right now, and how are people thinking about it. We try to have policies that reflect, mainstream discourse. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is something I've been thinking about for a while. I think that this is going to be pretty durable because at this point we've just been pressure tested on this stuff for like the last 8 to 10 years with like these huge institutions just pressuring us pressure. I feel like this is kind of the right place to be going forward.
What was it like when they were attacking you? Like, first of all, what was the premise? Like, what were they saying was your offense? Was it that you were allowing information that was not true, that was getting out there? I know there was also, they're saying that you guys were allowing hate groups to speak. There was a lot of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, the tough thing with
why censor like hate speech?
Well,
like,
hate speech is free speech.
It really is.
I mean,
because who decides?
There's a difference between saying, I don't like geeks versus you should go out, get a gun, and if you see a geek, make sure you kill them. That's a difference between hate speech and then that you're calling for someone to be killed.
Absolutely. But again,
that's a crime.
But my biggest thing is just like what happened here with Zuckerberg is okay. This side told them, hey, you can't say this. This is hate speech. This is hate speech. Now you set a president. Now you have a new president. Right? The guy that you hated so much. So he could be like, hey, you guys did this. Now we could do this in the opposite.
They would
you know what I mean?
torture him if he tries to do that.
But I'm saying, but
yeah.
But that's the thing.
Goes around, comes around.
Okay, now the shoe's on the other foot, and they get to say what censors, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you. But again,
and if they did that, I wouldn't stand for that.
What is the line? What's the line? Oh, you know what? I think I hate people that wear blue shoes or whatever. I think blue shoes are stupid. And like, you can't say that about people who wear blue shoes. That's not right. Like, where's it end?
I don't know. I mean, again, I understand the argument. Some people say, well, morally, I understand morally, but your morals are based on the individual. But the fact
exactly. You can't
you can't tell people they can't say things.
Again, I'm not saying it's nice to say these. It's free speech. You have to be able to say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, it's not against the law to be an idiot. It's not against the law to be a piece of shit.
Everybody's dumb.
That's
another thing. I'm not
sure.
Everybody's dumb.
Is that there's like, well, when you say someone's coming after you, are you referring to kind of the government and investigations and all that? I mean, so the issue is that there's what specific thing an agency might be looking into you for, and then there's like the underlying political motivation, which is like, why do the people who are running this thing hate you? And I think that those can often be two very different things.
All right. Well, that was the Zuck.
Like he said at the end, it's not planned like that. It's no good time to reverse course. But like at the same time, I still don't buy into it. I still think he's a robot. He still has a Chinese spy as a wife. He's not a dumb guy.
Is he one of the tall whites?
No, is he tall? I don't even think he's that tall, is he?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I don't know, but I don't know. I don't think he's an alien. I think he's a robot. I think he's like a cyborg. He is AI.
Cyborg.
He is AI or a lizard person or some sort of lizard person.
So yeah, I mean, yeah. So
but again, he's out there saying that the government was interfering in elections. Where I didn't think we hear this.
Indirect. He didn't directly come out and say that, but indirectly, essentially.
No, but he says in that interview. It wasn't that clip, but he says in that interview, he talks about the Hunter Biden laptop, and they were saying, the government came to me and they were saying that Russia's trying to mess with the election and they're putting out a lot of misinformation. That's the new term, right, for censorship, misinformation. But they didn't tell him what it was. I think he said, and then the Hunter Biden laptop. Oh my goodness, Hunter Biden laptop. I'm getting brainwaved by the government right now. That comes out, and they start taking those stories down. They did the same.
But
thing
what is
X.
misinformation? Essentially,
it's a word like conspiracy that the government made up.
Yeah, because essentially what they put up
So, but
that
again,
could be misinformation.
that's what I
I mean,
mean.
it's
This is the whole thing about information. You gotta just figure out and decide for yourself.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't want to hear, oh, the scientist did the experiment.
yeah.
Okay, the scientist did the experiment. Did you
Well, it's
fucking
the
do the
scientists. Who
experiment?
funds a
Who were the
scientist
scientists?
lab?
But I'm saying, who's the
Yeah,
scientist?
yeah,
Did you see them do this experiment?
yeah.
No, you just going off of some shit they wrote.
I think
I don't trust
one of the
no,
few things you
like,
can do is base it off of just someone's just history. Do they have a history of being accurate and right? Do
listen,
they have,
there's, I think we
you
can
know,
end on this. I think we can end on this note. There's a saying you should always live by. A great man once said it. Probably one of the greatest he would be considered a
go.
GOAT.
I think I know who you're gonna
Stone
mention.
Cold Steve
Steve
Austin.
Austin. That's right.
DTA. Don't trust
DTA.
anybody. Okay?
You're goddamn right, DTA. So,
Like,
listen,
whatever.
like you
And
said,
fucking
that was a
Zuckerberg.
good place to end it. That's Zuckerberg and his flip flopping. I just want to say a couple of things that we didn't get to say in our first episode last week was don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the fucking bell. We should ask for those things. It greatly helps the channel. I mean, I guess it does. I don't know.
Shorts. It's all like that's another whole thing. With it, we can go in. This is I don't even know this is conspiracy. It's just rant stuff. Like we're just talking about like now you gotta have shorts. Oh no, I want to do a podcast. Now I gotta do a short of us going like, oh Zuckerberg.
They want content. It's a content machine.
Yeah, pump it. Bullshit.
So, and I think yeah, so do that, please. And
like,
then
share,
I
subscribe,
I really want to do, and I know that you do as well, do a podcast on the drones and what's going on. But that changes so much from day to day. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, I haven't
even today
heard,
alone. Well, okay, you're working full time.
But I don't hear
from
things.
home,
I don't hear things about it like I did. It used to be all over the place. Now it's over.
Because it's be quiet because the news cycle. It's less. It's still happening.
24-hour news cycle.
And the shit it's been coming out over the past couple of days, it's ridiculous. So that might have to be.
We should do a drone one, because I think it's all just obviously it's. I
don't know, John, but some of the fucking orb shit is weird.
But the people film these orbs. It's a goddamn star, dog.
John,
I don't buy it. I don't buy that shit. Half the people are filming fucking planes.
Yeah. Okay, but.
Again,
we'll
DTA.
get into another time. But you ever take a picture of, you see a beautiful moon, full moon, and then you take a picture with your phone, whatever, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So what if they are seeing something that's very detailed and specific and it comes out like shit?
But it's not as far as the moon. The moon.
Okay, and then
the moon
and then
is
whatever
miles away. If you believe
the
in
soul-sucking moon,
if you believe in that thing.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, there's so many things to talk about. So many fun things to talk about. But
yeah, but we always get caught up in current events. I really want.